It's the turn of the century and motoring is a new pursuit for the well-heeled and wealthy. This part of rural Hertfordshire is mile after mile of rolling fields. But the seeds of change are in the air.
Within just 10 short years, a huge social experiment would take place just up the road from here. Just as the motorcar offered a new way to travel, the Garden City would provide a modern way to live. Letchworth Garden City Driver.
Ebenezer Howard felt passionately that new communities could be constructed that would combine the advantages of living in the countryside with the job opportunities of city dwelling.
He was trying to show investors that the idea was to get people to have a much better life than they were enjoying in either of the other places. Conditions were appalling in the 19th century. People were dying in cities and dying in the countryside, and he said it must be better to be able to combine the benefits of both of these places and let people live their lives in a lovely atmosphere, you know, like you get here, with open space, plenty of water, fountains, green trees, and yet you've got industry close by.
Now, Letchworth Man had his home, but he would also need somewhere to work. But Edwardian factories belching out smoke were a no-no for the first ever garden city. Instead, Letchworth slipped quietly into corsets.
American firm Spirella moved into their massive purpose-built factory in 1912. Nicknamed Castle Corset, it employed 1,500 people producing thousands of undergarments. Even Mae West was a fan. Spirella were a progressive employer, providing workers with a range of benefits like a gym and a library.
Barbara, how long did you work at Spirella?
10 years. They had facilities for people to have their baths here, because a lot of them came from the villages. I suppose really the wages weren't particularly high, but all their things that they provided were free.
Spirella finally closed in 1979, but the building today is home to a legacy of Ebenezer Howard. His vision was to retain ownership of large chunks of the town and to charge farmers and businesses rent. To this day, a heritage foundation still ploughs this money back into the community. They've just spent £1 million refurbishing the local cinema, and they even subsidise the tickets.
So Letchworth Man had good housing, plentiful job prospects and a cut-price cinema to boot. But what was strictly off-limits was a pub. In 1907, the pioneering townsfolk voted no to the demon drink, and the town remained dry for over 50 years. Instead, they had this place.
Now it's a community centre. Then it was a dry pub called the Skittles Inn.
Mine's a pint of dandelion and burdock, please.
That's pretty much all you could get here. It wasn't until, well, I think the end of the 1950s when the vote went the other way and they finally built a pub in the middle of the town.
If Letchworth Man couldn't drink, he could drive. And this fascinating place has one final claim to fame. In 1909, the town planners gave the go-ahead for a revolutionary idea. It's called an intersection for gyratory movement, or a roundabout to you and me. Britain's first, in fact, without which we'd all be lost. Thanks, Ebenezer.